Here we're looking at the second part of our FICA PowerPoint, and the Social Security taxes are based against the gross wages. However, if the employee makes more than a certain threshold amount, then they don't have to have any more taxes taken out for Social Security for that year. So every year payroll starts on January 1st. If in 2022 someone ends up making more than $147,000 of gross wages before the end of December, then whatever they make from that point till the end of December has no Social Security taxes taken out. However, Medicare wages never have a cap to them. So in other words, even if some head of some company gets $1 million bonus, they will not have to pay Social Security, the 6.2%, but they would still have to pay the Medicare taxes would come out of that, the 1.45%. So here's an example where Tamara earned $151,200 for the year. And she's paid semi-monthly on the 15th and the 30th. We need to determine FICA for the last payroll, which was on December 30th. Okay? So we first need to say, well, how much a year-to-date gross wages is there? Okay, so we take the 151,200. There's 22. She was paid semi-monthly, so that's twice a month. So there's 24 pay periods. So 151,200 divided by the 24 pay periods is $6,300 of per pay period of gross wages. Now, so far, we're just looking at the last payroll. So that means she got two paychecks each month, January through November, and then she's already had one paycheck in December on December 15th. So she's had a total of 23 paychecks so far. So 6,300 of gross wages times 23 paychecks means that so far she has 144,900. Now, of course, in real life, you would look at the employee earnings record because that would show the exact amount in case she got some extra bonus or had something subtracted for some reason. That would show you the exact number that of her gross wages from January 1st to right before this last paycheck. Okay, but presumably, if there was nothing added or subtracted, she would have 144,900. Now, our cap is 147,000, so she's not quite there yet, but she's getting close. So we take the cap, 147,000, minus what she actually has before this paycheck, 144,900, means there's 2,100 left over that she still is going to get Social Security taken out of that 2,100, but not the whole 6,300, just the 2,100, because that's enough to get her up to the maximum. Okay, and so we're going to take that 2,100 times the 6.2%. Social Security is $130.20. Now, for the Medicare tax, we take the gross wages times 1.45%. There is no maximum for Medicare, so we don't have to find this 2,100 like we had to do for Social Security. The whole gross wages of her check times 1.45%. that's $91.35. So her total FICA is the $130.20 of Social Security, and the $91.35 of Medicare is $221.55. However, if we had taken the $6,300 times the whole Social Security and Medicare, that would have been $481.95. So she's having a lot less taken out of her check because of this fact that she is hitting the maximum. Now this maximum, $147,000, is only for 2022. Starting January of 2023, there will be a new maximum. Okay? Now this last question asks us, is this the employee withholding or the employer payroll tax expense? Well, it's both. The employee is having $221.55 withheld for FICA, and the employer has to match that, so they would also pay another $221.55 to the IRS. Okay, here is talking about seeking independent contractors. If the net income of the business is more than $400, then they have to pay FICA, which is SECA. Okay, so Social Security and the Medicare has to be paid. And remember that this is net income, so we take the gross income, which is all their sales from running the business, and subtract out any of their expenses, and whatever is left over is the net income. And if that's more than $400, then they have to pay the SECA. Okay? With partnerships, the distributive share of the partnership net income is subject to Social Security and Medicare. So if you have 4 partners, and we take the total net income and divide it by 4, and each partner then has to pay their tax based on their 25% share. If you own more than one business, you can offset losses and income and calculate the Social Security and Medicare based on the combined amount. So if you have one business that has net income of $20,000 and you have another business that had a loss of $5,000, then you can combine those and you would only pay the Social Security and Medicare on the $15,000 combined amount. Some people might be an employee somewhere and they get a W-2 from that employer, but they also have a side business of their own, okay? And in that case, they have to pay regular FICA on their employee wages, and then they have to pay SECA on their self-employment. Now, as far as the cap of the $147,000, you're going to count both of those. So if they made $120,000 on their job, on their W-2, then there's only $27,000 left that it goes toward the self-employment. So if they had net income in their business of $40,000, then only $27,000 is going to have Social Security paid on it. Although all of it, all $40,000, will still have Medicare. Okay, so here is an example of that. Okay, let's say the W-2 for wages is $149,768, and they have self-employment income from their owning their own business of $14,500. How much SECA are we going to calculate on the $14,500? Well, there's no Social Security because they already passed the maximum in their job. So no Social Security will be calculated on their self-employment income. However, Medicare, they have to do the 1.45 plus the 1.45, which is 2.9% for a self-employed person, times the whole $14,500 because there's no cap there. So that would equal $420.50. Okay, what if in the job there was $128,000 and self-employment was $26,000? Okay, how much SECA do we have on that $26,000 from self-employment? Well, the $128,000 doesn't reach the cap in this case. So we say, well, how much more do we have to go to reach the cap? So 147,000 cap minus the 128,000 from the job is 19,000 left over that still needs to have Social Security taxed on it. So SECA, remember, is you're the employee and the employer, so it's double. 6.2 plus 6.2 is 12.4% for Social Security. So the 19,000 times 12.4% is $2,356. For the Medicare, all of it will be taxed for the Medicare because there is no cap. Okay, so, and again, the Medicare for SECA is 2.9%. So 26,000 times 2.9% is $754. The total SECA then is the $2,356 Social Security part and the $754 Medicare part, and that totals up to $3,110 of SECA that would have to be paid. All right, if you are self-employed, you can get a federal ID number by filing an SS4 that can be done online. Okay, if you're purchasing an existing business, the new owner needs a new employee ID number. Okay, an SS5 form is for an individual Social Security number. And typically it's required for everybody that's 1 year older, and typically when you're born that's filled out at the hospital. Okay, there is a W-7 for an ITIN number, and the ITIN number is for foreigners who have to file a tax return. They can't get a Social Security number unless they're a citizen or something like that. But if they work in this country anyways, they still have to pay taxes and file a tax return. So they can get an ITIN number to use in place of the Social Security.